I think there's something magic about running on the treadmill sometimes that helps. It's kind of like the trainer. There's something about it that's just better. And it's not just as simply as, oh, you're committed to the pace. Like it increases your cadence a little bit. I think it improves running economy a little bit, maybe more for some than others. But every time I've come off a significant amount of treadmill running as like more than, let's say, once a week or once a week minimum, I have ended up running quite well. And I don't know, maybe it's in my head. What do you think, Jack?
I tend to agree. The mechanism behind the improvement, I don't fully know. I have suspicions and theories. I think for some people, running on the treadmill is safer, so you can get more intensity done, particularly over, like, say, in an acute period of 3 weeks. If you do 3 to 6 treadmill sessions a week, that just might have meant that you accumulate more intensity than what you would have if you did the same thing outside, because you can just lock into a pace. You can do, whatever it is, 20 to 40 minutes of threshold or VO2 max running on the treadmill, and then you just back it up again 3 days later. And then because of that accumulated intensity, you run better when it comes to race day. It might be mental for some people, like for some people, maybe just locking in and not thinking about your running and like spending that amount of extended time at a higher intensity means that when you go back outside again, you just find it easier to do the same thing. It might be that there's some kind of physiological things at play, like neuromuscular things, when it comes to your running mechanics. Maybe it does make you run with a slightly higher cadence, and maybe that does make you run a little bit better off the bike. I don't know. I'm not so sold on that. I don't think that is actually a thing. I know there was some research conducted, not enough people and not enough period of time, in my opinion, that showed it didn't lead to any significant changes in running cadence, particularly over time. But, like off the bike's a different thing. And if you're used to running with a slightly higher cadence on the treadmill, maybe you can kind of ingrain that into your neuromuscular memory and bring it out on race day. Yeah, so I don't know. Like at the end of the day, I think the key thing to improve your running is just your sessions, especially as a triathlete. So if you're doing lots of sessions, you're probably going to run pretty well. I do think the treadmill can be great because I think it can force you to run a little bit faster. You don't actually know how fast your treadmill's going. Like, that's a big thing. You have this number on the screen that tells you it's that, but I promise you it's actually not that. Like, they're just so hard to calibrate correctly. So you might have it set to 330 per K. It might be more similar at a neuromuscular level to running 320 or 315 per K outside. And therefore, when you go and run outside, it makes it a little bit easier. So I do think that it can lock you into an intensity that's great for you, and it can lock you into a neuromuscular pattern that's maybe a little bit faster than what it would be for that exact same session outside. And they're probably the two big things, and maybe there's some mental stuff at play as well.
Yeah, well, it works for me. So placebo, I think it's going to make me fast. But the other thing, they wouldn't even say about biking, because you don't really get too hot biking a lot of the time. But right now it's been 35 Celsius here. I'm not doing a run session outside in 35. I think it's stupid. And maybe that should take us into, like, I personally think for your intensity sessions, unless you have a hot race imminently coming up, avoid doing them in the heat. I think it's dumb to do them in the heat. And I was doing passive heat like 4 or 5 days a week for a couple years. And as soon as I moved and didn't have my sauna, I was just able to train more. So I actually think passive heat is maybe worth avoiding if you're trying to train at your best level. I just think it takes away from your training. Like, your body can only take so much stress. Why put a stress on it that you already get anyways? Your temperature goes up when you train. So I don't know. What do you think about heat? Lisa, looks like you got a different opinion.